For the chest pieces, we're gonna throw off the hump. We're gonna take our dies here that we made, and first you're gonna start off with, let's say, a thin piece of clay here on your hump. And you have to like measure your squares on your chessboard to make sure that the base of these are gonna fit. But what I do is, this is for the rook. I'm gonna take this, and I actually, if you put it at an angle, you can kind of start cutting in the shape. You have to keep this really wet. And let's see, I'm gonna support it here on the other side. And I'm just gonna cut in, see that? Cut in the shapes, okay? So I know my mark was here. This is gonna come off. So I got that, and then I'm gonna make my mark there at the bottom, okay? So this isn't gonna perfectly fit right in there, but it helps me get those right measurements. And now, I know this needs to be thinner because the boxes on my checkerboard are quite small. So I'm gonna work on making that smaller. And remember, I mean, you want them to look similar, but they're handmade objects. So we like to embrace the fact that they're not, you know, exactly the same. So now I'm just using whatever. I like to use our little cut up key cards and whatnot to get those different angles. Now you could also do the rough form, and then when they're leather hard, you could trim out all these shapes. All right, so since this is the rook, I also like to put, again, keep your hands wet, because one little, if it sticks to your hands at all, it will get off center. I like to make a little hole here at the top of that. And then I'll go in and kind of carve some things out. And I'm going to clean up all that slip, redefine those edges. I'm looking at the ones that I've made already. It's like throwing off a teeny tiny hump. I'm looking at the ones I've made already and kind of trying to get an idea if this one looks similar. To open that up a little bit more. So my other ones are over there, so I can kind of look at the profile here. Okay, so I'm gonna prepare my hands. I still wanna get some of that slip off. Getting that slip off really helps when you pick it up to not get all the finger marks. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back in and just re-measure here so that I know where I'm gonna cut this off. Because ideally we want these to be mostly the same height. And I, just by eyeballing it, I think that's a little high, so I'm gonna go right there. Make that little indent. That indent right there, so just like if you've done cups before, you take your wooden knife and you make that indent. Also pay attention to whenever I'm touching this small piece, I'm always supporting it on the other side. If I don't, it's just gonna get pushed right over. So clean your hands off. I actually have one dirty microfiber cloth. I usually use the sponge to wipe off all the big stuff, dirty microfiber cloth to like do the next wipe, and then a nice clean one so that my hands can get dry. All right, wire tool. Now again, when I do the wire tool, I'm gonna support this pot on the other side, because if I just went, it's gonna fall right off. So I'm gonna get into that little crack, pull back as I'm supporting it with my thumb on the other side. Here we go. All right, so these are the ones I made so far. This is the little guy I just made. I recommend making at least one more, if not two more of each piece. It's much easier to do that than have to set everything up and redo everything if one breaks, you know, a year down the line or somewhere in the process. I also have my sketches here of what I'm doing, and then how many I actually need for the set, and then how many I'm gonna make. So 2 kings, but I'm actually gonna make 3, so I have extra. And now I'm moving on to the pawns. The thing about making a chess set is, I mean, you can just get so creative, absolutely so creative. And although I want you guys to do these on the wheel, you can do the basic shapes on the wheel and then carve, underglaze, keep them really simple and minimal. There's just so many. Sky's the limit, really. You could have a theme. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the pawn. I have my little cards labeled. And again, I'm just gonna use this to kind of get my measurements. So that's the part I need to make the ball, and then that's the bottom part. This is a really good exercise for learning to use ribs. Imagine all the fun things that you could do on your pots with the addition of ribs. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of this off. So I don't want it to be too top heavy. And now I'm gonna work on creating that ball. I want things to be proportional, so I'm having to like make this neck smaller. And then in order for it to be a spear, I feel like I really need a good indent there. You always have to support this top so that it stays on center. If I were to just press here, it's just gonna go off center. So you still need very steady hands. All right. I have also set my calibers to the size of the square, and so I've been testing these out. So this one looks like it's gonna be all right. Let me see how long, tall this. Oh yeah. So that guy is gonna be about that height. Oh yeah, he's good. I squeeze out my sponge, wipe all the clay off my hands. Take my dirty microfiber cloth, and then I dry them off with this. In order to get this to be flat, you need to spin your wheel as you're doing it. If you don't spin your wheel as you're doing it, you're not gonna get that super flat bottom. Usually it'll be crooked. Here you go. I need to make 16 more of these.